It says like, hey, how do you know if somebody's manipulating you? Sometimes it's not necessarily the easiest way to determine whether or not somebody's manipulating you, but oftentimes you can figure out whether or not somebody's trying to manipulate you is based on the person's behavior. Okay, and that's extremely important. You got to understand the pattern of behavior of what people are doing and like what they've displayed towards you. Because if you don't see that pattern behavior, people will get over on you every time. And the pattern behavior is so important is because it gives you this baseline of who this individual or who people are. You understand what I'm saying? It's a baseline. I'm a scientist major. I'm a science major. So some people, they may or may not necessarily be a science major, but if you know science or you know experiments at all, one thing that they do is they use something called a control when they're testing something out. A scientist, they have a hypothesis about a situation, and so they're thinking like, oh, well, maybe the negative ingredient in bleach is this compound right here. I know this might be a little bit far fetched, but just roll with me. Good people, just roll with me. But they say, oh, we got to figure out what the harmful compound is in this bleach, okay? And so what they do with it is they take samples of the bleach, okay, and then they might use certain elements like fire, heat, water, whatever, to kind of like figure out whether or not this compound is in bleach, okay? But they have something called a control, and the control is the normal one. It's going to act the same way. So when they're testing their experiments, the control shows them that they already know what the control is going to do. They already know what's going to happen. There's nothing's going to deviate. They know what's going to occur. But so it that's so important because it actually highlights what they're adding or removing from the other experiments when they're doing it, if that kind of makes sense. So with that being said, the control is a person's baseline behavior. You know how they're going to act is because this is how they've been acting over and over and over and over again. And not only that, you also got to use a little bit of human psychology in that you got to understand people's wants, what people don't want. You understand that humans, they more than likely want some type of pleasure. They do not like necessarily like anything that's going to make them feel bad. What human will want their arm to be chopped off? What human wouldn't want more money? If that kind of makes sense. Okay. So with that being said, you got to factor all that into your situations. What is a person's normal pattern behavior, and then what is their motive? What is their incentive for whatever they're trying to get up out of you? Whatever their actions that they're doing. These are some of the ways that you can tell whether or not a person is being manipulative towards you. Okay, what is that person's regular behavior? What is their motive or their incentive? What will they gain from the interaction with you? And then sometimes you also got to think about it from the societal stance at large. What is normal? Okay, because once you realize what is normal, you know what's not normal, and you can see people's manipulative ways so much easier. So it does take time, and it does take times of watching people. You sometimes have to be patient and watch people, because one of the major ways that people who are manipulative, the ways that they get at you is through your emotions. If people can get up to your emotions, they got you each and every time. This is why I always talk about in this society today, they care about people's emotions. It's not because they truly care about your emotions. They know that with the emotional turmoil that a lot of people are going through outside nowadays, we have it so that if you say anything, or you move in a certain type of way in any way, shape, or form that is offensive to selective social groups, they can come now and cancel you. They can remove you. They can shut you up if you're saying something and people feel offended by what you're saying. Like for example, like if you say, "Oh, this is what a woman is," there's a question out there nowadays of what is a woman. And so if you say this is what a woman is, a biological female, people will be triggered by that. They don't like what you're saying and they'll be upset by what you're saying. And so what they're going to do next is they will come and they will cancel you. They'll be able to cancel you because they're saying that you're saying hate speech. And as a result, hate speech is not covered under the Constitution. Hate speech, you don't have any type of right in this country. So you could be at work or whatever the case may be, and people could easily fire you. They can get you up out the way. They can cancel you. They can boycott you. They can do all these different things because they're saying that you're saying hate speech. You see a little game that they play, but it's not actually hate speech. But hate speech is not covered under the First Amendment. So with that being said, or they're saying you're being insensitive, you're being negative, you're being mean, you're being whatever phobic or ist towards these social groups up over here. You're an evil person compared to with what's coming out your mouth and everything like that. And so as a result, they can shame you. They can shame a person into not saying something. They can shame you. You know what I'm saying? And then they can use the guise that you're hurting people's feelings as a way to shut you up and shut you down and making everybody else afraid to say anything. You see how they play that game? They use feelings as a way to shut people up nowadays because you're going to hurt somebody else's feelings. but it's only a one-way ticket, meaning that this person is able to say what they wanted to say, but when other people say something, now they can't. Now it's, the feelings is not as important. Your feelings is not as important. You see how they play their game? They want to live their lifestyle, but when you go counter to that lifestyle, or you say I want to live my lifestyle, now everybody got a problem with the way that you live, but they don't have a problem. They're forcing lifestyles upon you, and if you say something, you're hurting people's feelings, and now they can shut you up. You see how they play that game? It's a manipulation game. But that's the only reason why they care about your feelings. They don't care about your feelings when it comes to real stuff, when it comes to money, power, fame, and all that other stuff. When it comes to real tangible things, they care less about your feelings. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that funny how that works? But when it comes to all these other societal groups, and ways that they want to implement these new ideas, now they give people the ability to feel all over the place. But when the things that really actually matter, they really don't care about your feelings, because they're using feeling as a manipulative tactic to control people. They're using feelings. They intentionally let people who have the most trauma, they'll sick them on you. And if you say anything, of course, when people are in trauma, or people are confused, or people are hurt in general, if somebody says something, it doesn't even matter if somebody's trying to be offensive, if whether or not it is offensive, it could be completely facts. Again, you can say this is what a woman is, that people would say triggered. And so what they do is they will go after you like a rabid dog, because their feelings are hurt. And now you can control a person based off of feelings. And you can now, and again, in this society, they're able to hide behind morality. They're saying that you need to protect people's feelings, or we need to ensure that we're helping people's feelings, or we're being cautious of people's feelings. They don't actually really, they're not cautious of people's feelings because they actually care about people's feelings. They're cautious about people's feelings, and they want you to be cautious is because it's a way to muffle the truth. It's a way to get people to stop talking, to remove people under the guise of morality. You're being immoral when you're saying things, and it's hurting people's feelings. It's triggering people. But again, they only use it for certain groups of people at certain periods of time. But when it comes to other real tangible things, they don't care about your feelings. You see how that game works? But this is a manipulative tactic that people use. You see, that's what I'm talking about, where you got to look at people and how they move generally. You can tell, at least from the elites, and I'm talking about from a societal standpoint, you can tell how they really don't care about people's feelings, because they pick and choose. It's cherry picking when people's feelings are important. And it's funny how when they want their agendas to be pushed, they care about people's opinions. But when it comes to war, money, houses, business, and stuff that is really tangible, they stop caring about your feelings. Now it's all business at that point. But when it's everything else, you got to respect, but they don't truly care about people's feelings. You know, but feelings is a way that people will always get at you, and you gotta watch people with those feelings. That's why you always got to try to be your best to stay in a logical state of mind. It's very difficult, but you got to understand what people will do. People, their main goal when they come into your life, if they truly want to manipulate you, is to get at your feelings, your emotions. Again, I know I keep on getting on the societal level, but one of the biggest ways that they're able to get at us, and able to change society in the way that they do, is through our feelings. Especially like with black people, I always say black people and the plight of black people. It's a gold mine, in the sense that people, all these other races, all these other groups, all these social programs that they keep on pushing forward in front of us, they come in off the bat of all these other black social movements, Black Lives Matter, the civil rights, and whatever other social movement. When it comes to whatever black plight that is out there, these other groups, they hitch their wagon onto that Black Lives Matter or the civil rights era or whatever. They hitch their wagon to the black plight, and then they get black people to believe that we all should fight for each other. But then when they get their agenda done, or they get to the forefront, then they kick us about the doggone club. It's a Trojan horse mechanism that they continuously keep using, and we keep falling for it. They get the country in a state of emotionality so they can manipulate things. When the country is at peace, people don't want to change. When culture and tradition is firmly in play, people are not going to change. They're at peace. Why would they change? But if an elite, or the people who are at the very top, whoever want to bring in these new reforms for whatever reason, more than likely a lot of times they want more money. They need to get people deculturalized so they can grab more money from the people. They can control the people easier. If the people don't have traditions, they are not going to know who they are. So they rely on the elites for their validation. So now I'm gonna tell them to go spin, 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 spin. Of course, I'm gonna do all that. I'm gonna get in their emotions. But how do you get people out of traditions? How do you get people out of these ways where they're not gonna bend? We just can't go force people to change. How do you do it? How do we get the people out of this peaceful state? Implement any type of chaos. Implement emotionality. How do they do that? Black Lives Matter. How do they do that? Civil rights movement. How do you do that? You plaster images of these black people getting killed all over the places. That is going to switch people's minds. They are going to go in emotional mode. They're going to go into reactive mode. Now they're going to jump into a cause and start to fight. Now they're going to go in there. Now we can change society and come in with our red cape acting like we're trying to help everybody. This is the method that they continue to keep on using. Without that method, the black plight, they can't get these reforms because the country is at peace. When the country is at peace, people do not want to go to war. The people don't want to change when the thing's at peace. The people do not want to bring in these new reforms, these social ideas that the elites want to bring in for whatever reason. People are unwilling to do it. So, how do you get these people unrooted? You have to introduce chaos, anarchy. You have to introduce some type of sadness, emotionality. This is why emotionality is so important because it's a manipulative tool that they keep on using us. When you are emotional and you are not in the mental and a clear-headed state of mind, actually, I should say it like this: when you're emotional, you're not clear-headed. You're clear-minded, and because you're not clear-minded, what you're going to do? People who are emotionally manipulative, they can easily get in there and put them strings on you, walk you around like you Pinocchio. It's because your emotions is all over the doggone place. I could tell you anything. How often do you make solid decisions that you don't regret? How often do you make decisions that you regret in the future? Because when you come down off that emotional high, you be like, dang, man, I should have never did that. How many dudes is in prison? How many females is in prison? How many people are locked up because they made an emotional decision? A lot of people. How many people? How many oftentimes is you as an individual make decisions when they're based in your emotions, and then you look back like, what did I just do? Oftentimes, because you're not thinking when you're in your emotions. That's why they need to keep you in your emotions. That's why they need to keep this racial banter, this gender war between men and women. They got to keep that stuff going because this is how it keeps people in their emotions. This is why they got to keep on talking about it. How race is so important. They don't really care about race. That stuff is just, it gets people talking, emotional. They're not looking. They're fighting each other. They don't see what we're doing. But when people trying to get at you, I'm telling you, one of the biggest things is you got to watch people's behavior. Sometimes you gotta watch it over a period of time, because once it starts to change, how the hell did you just start changing? How was your behavior one way for so many years, and then out of the blue they changed? God showed you this. He'll have you in seasons in your life where He wants you to be quiet. He wants you to be silent and quiet, watching people. You don't understand why He's telling you. People coming at you in so many ways, and you want to defend yourself, and your spirit is telling you do not talk. God is telling you not to speak, and you don't understand why until the end. When everything comes around, He's telling you not to speak. He's not telling you not to talk, so you can sit back and watch people and watch their behavior for who they are. Because people, they can't hide. And when people feel like they have power over you, when they feel like they're doing better than you, when they feel like they're winning, they will show you their ass. They will show you what they really feel about you, how they care about you, or the lack thereof. They're not gonna pick up that phone. They're not about to whatever. They'll start to talk down on you. They look down on you because they think that you ain't gonna ever get up out of a pit season, or you ain't gonna get up out of the situations that you in. And God's telling you to be quiet and silent in these seasons. You don't understand why. You understand afterwards, because now these people can't hide. They have exposed themselves so much that they can't hide. So now when they come back around, they're gonna act a completely different way. When God gets you about that pit and He blesses you, now people will come at you in a completely different manner. Now they want to be your friend. Now they want to be this. Now they're the best person for you. Now they're switching their tune out of nowhere. It's almost like overnight. Once God got you about that pit, it seems like people have changed. You've changed, and it seems as though people have changed. But the fact of the matter is, they haven't really changed. The thing is, they didn't realize that you was about to get up out that pit. And so as a result, now that people see that you're different, now they can see people you're up and you're strong, and now you're getting these blessings. Now they want to be on your side again. So now they got to put their mask on and come back around you and pretend. Their behavior is changing. And so they'll start to give you little jabs, a little bread. I mean, not bread. I mean, they are breadcrumbs, but they'll give you whatever they were depriving of you before. They'll give you this validation, love, whatever you may have wanted, or whatever it was prior to you getting up out your situations. They'll give it to you now. But the thing is, they don't work on you no more, and people will be sitting there confused. They don't understand because they understand that this is an emotional breadcrumb that they're giving you. This is emotional. This is what they knew that they could have gotten you a whole long time ago. But why is it not working now? It's because you can see who they are, and you're not in the state of emotionality no more. But they use that emotionality, and they'll be confused, like, why can't I get this person? They don't realize that you up out of that state, and you're not in that same place no more. They don't get it though, and they don't understand. They don't realize. I mean, in time they will. They'll get it pretty doggone smooth because they want you in an emotional space because that's the way that they manipulate. And had you still been emotional, once a person changed and they switched to this, they went from the devil to an angel of light, and then they came back up to you. Had you been in an emotional space, you would have fell for it. Most of the time, you would have fell for it. You would have fell for it. But since you're not in that space no more, and you're logic based and you're clear minded, you're not in the state of emotionality. They can't get a damn thing up over you, and you can see them clearly for who they are. You see how that games work? That's how you can sometimes tell with this emotional. It's like people, they play on your emotions. Your emotions is how people manipulate you. You want to find any manipulative person, watch how they try to take a step back and look at how they're treating you and how they're trying to continuously get at your emotions. And sometimes you might not think that they're trying to get at your emotions, but sometimes I'm telling you, it takes time. And watch people's behavior over a pattern of time. Their goal is your emotions, because once they get at your emotions, they get at your mind. They have to break you down on the interior. If they can break you down on the interior, then that means that they can control you. If they can get you to question who you are and not be confident, timid about who you are, they can control you. And so that's why it's so important. That's why it's so important. They got to attack your self esteem. They got to attack they always got to question everything that you do, question everything that you say. They always got to make it out that something is wrong, and you're just a wrong. You're just a horrible person. Or in some way, they might not necessarily say that, but it's the nitpicking that they'll do. And you won't understand at first, especially if this is your first rodeo with a manipulative, especially emotionally manipulative person. This is your first rodeo. You're not even gonna see it coming. You're not gonna see it coming. But in time, you'll understand. In time, you'll see people for who they are. But it does take that time. Because people, they'll go so much, and it's like they act like all day that they don't want you around, they don't like you, they don't accept you, blah 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 blah. Each and every day, what they say to you. Again, it's not necessarily verbal, it's not like direct, but it's in their actions, it's in their interactions, it's in how they treat you. Like everything is so wrong, and then everybody acting like you're such a problem. And then when you get up and leave, watch how people, they come back around acting like they want you to engraft you back into whatever circle, fold, or whatever the situation is. But they just told they was doing all this work saying that they didn't want you there. They was showing you in every possible way that they didn't want you there. Why do they want you back now? Why? Half of the time, some people, they don't even understand how they treating you, because other times they do, and it just makes them feel better. And other times it's like people just want they just want to have somebody that they can dump all that energy, the negative energy on. And so you got to understand that. And they'll use whatever tactics, whatever means it takes to get you back into a situation where they feel like they're superior, and they will continuously keep doing it. It's not genuine. And you'll understand it in time, the manipulative ways of people, because they can't just go from the damn devil to an angel of light overnight, and that's what they're going to do. And if you're logical, you're clear minded, you know who you are, and you're solid, you'll see it for what it is clearly. You'll ask the logical questions. You're not thinking with your emotions, and that's why people want you in your emotions. It's because when you're in your emotions, you're not thinking, you're not, and they will get over on you, they will drag you. They will drag you. So you want to know how, if a person's manipulative, take time and watch them over a period of time. Watch how they act. Watch how they act, especially when they feel like they're getting over, or they're more powerful to you, or they think that they're smarter than you. Watch what happens when you get up and you leave. Watch what happens when you remove yourself. Watch what happens and how people will change up their steps. That's how you know people playing games. That's how you know people being manipulative. How do people act normally? How do people act when real tangible things are at hand? They can act all social, all liberal, or whatever when it comes to certain topics, but when the real things come to, when it comes to the forefront, real tangible things, how do people? They don't have that stance like they had before. That's how you know people full of it. That's how you know people being manipulative. That's how you know they're full of it. They'll tell you to do one thing, but they won't do it. That's how you know they're full of it. So these are the tactics to determine whether or not a person is manipulative. Is watch their behavior over time, and do they always try to get you in a state where they're trying to get at your emotions? Because I'm telling you, they get at your emotions. They got to get at your emotions to get at your mental. They got to get at your mentals to get at your core, your identity, the understanding of who you are. Because if they can dismantle that, they dismantle you. So with all that being said, I catch y'all on the flip side. Peace.